In a world filled with screens and distractions. In a world filled with screens and distractions, we invite you to reconnect with the natural world around you. Welcome to Nature Bound, a podcast dedicated to unpacking the intrinsic bond between humans and nature. We'll uncover the benefits of spending time outdoors, including how a nature-centric lifestyle can improve your mental health, elevate your leadership skills, and unleash your creativity. And now here's your host, outdoor enthusiast, and renowned author of The 7 Principles of the Magic Rock, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this edition of Nature Bound. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a steelhead fishing trip that I was on in the very far northern reaches of California, and it's on a river that has recently had some dams removed, so there's been a lot of changes on it. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show I'm going to cut to myself from the pre-trip assessment, and then I'll come back and talk a little bit more about what I learned from being on the river. Welcome to this episode of Nature Bound. I am out in very far reaches of Northern California on the first part of my fall migration. We're here, it's in the 90s, just starting to cool off, and I'm waiting for my fishing partners. We're looking to catch some steelhead on fly rods, and we'll be out off the grid and in the wild for 8 nights and 9 days. And this is the first trip of the season for me, which is always fun. Spent the day-to-day traveling and collecting gear. Got a tent and an easy up, and on my personal gear, a couple fly rods, a pistol, and then some food and some dog food for Texas. So we're on a river that my family has been fishing for about 60 years now, and it's an important trip for me because of the fly fishing and the remembering of the time that I spent with my father, my uncle, my uncles, and my grandfather. And it gives me a chance to be outside, be off the grid, be in the wild. Also remember the men that trained me in the art of fly fishing and helped to really guide my love of being outside and camping and doing it yourself. So on this trip, there'll be 3 of us. We have all the gear. One of the buddies has got a jet boat, so we're able to move around and find the spots that are best based on water conditions, time of the day, and where the shade is. So we get to fish pretty hard in the mornings, and then as the sun comes up and hits the water, then we'll chase the shade, spend some time relaxing, having a leisurely lunch, and then when the shade hits different sections of the water, we'll go do some fishing as the water temperature allows. So this is first installment, night 1 pre-trip, ready for the rest of the guys to get into camp, and then tomorrow we'll get on the river, set up our camp, and then get fishing in the afternoon and evening. So you can see there was a little bit of reticence there for me in that I knew that it was hot. The air temperature was hot in the high 90s, and that was reflecting into the water temperatures. And so, plus the fact that this river had been dammed for over 100 years, and so there's a lot of changes that are happening because of that. Water clarity was good a few days before I shot that video. I knew water clarity was good. We just knew that the temperatures were hot, but that there hadn't been a lot of fish caught yet on the river. So that was kind of the pre-trip thing. Knew that it was going to be dicey. Had no idea that how hot it was going to get, and then how hot the river was going to be. So the morning temps were in the low 70s, as low as 69, and then the afternoon temperatures were unfishable. So it became a lot of time in camp, spending time by myself, or spending time even playing the guitar, a little bit of time meditating, and some time watching the ospreys do the osprey life. And there were otters near our camp, and I saw bears from the camp, saw some bald eagles. So it was a lot of time of nature observation and not as much time as fishing. Of course, our camp is on a gorgeous sandbar, and we have a place where we have permission to camp from the landowner. And so I'll just show you a little clip here of what that looks like, just so you can get a sense of how our camp was. This is the front porch, and you can see we got a good view there. The boat's down below us, and here we're getting garbage can, the Easy Up, which has been the shade structure for us. Camp kitchen with a variety of tools, and a stove and propane, and of course we got barbecue to be able to grill some of our meals, which have been amazing. And then on this side of the sandbar, we got our lanai and our sleeping area. And this is the view from camp, and it's been quite an amazing time sitting on the river, running the jet boat, and seeing the activity of the animals of the river. So that was a good spot. It's a great spot to be on the river, and there wasn't a lot of traffic because the way the seasons are set up this year. So it was one where I had time to think about how the each river has its own personality and has its own type of character, and this river, being recently undammed, is in some ways still trying to find itself. And the steelhead and the salmon are going to have to figure out when they can travel based on water temperatures that haven't existed for many generations of fish. And so that's what it felt like, was a lot of unknowns. And there was some water pulses from some of the tributaries that cooled off the water dramatically, and it influenced the main stem temperature for 6 or 7 days. But it never really settled down into the type of experience that we've had in the past. And I think that's part of it, is the river is trying to find its new personality. And so that was the observer mode, was the space that I maintained during that trip. And we only caught a few fish. It was the lowest catching that we've had in the time that we've been fishing that river, in over 25 years. And so that was interesting. The water temps were interesting. Noticing the water clarity is amazing, way better since the dams have come out. And it'll be interesting to see how the season progresses and what happens when the next big water event happens on that river. So I hope and pray that there's cold water in the near future. I'm going to cut to one more video, which was my closing video from being on the river. We'll watch that, and then I have some closing comments about what's coming up next for me. Six days on the river, and it's always a different experience, even though I've been doing this steelhead fishing trip for over 25 years. The weather has been really, really hot, and that consequently made the river really, really hot. And so the fish are not in excited state, and they're fighting for survival. So the first part of the week, it got almost into hundreds outside, and water temps were as high as 77, 78. So the fishing has been just in the mornings, and it's not been very good. Right? It's been the worst it's been in the whole time I've ever fished this river. But that being said, there's lots of awesome things that have happened. I've been out watching the river go by for 6 days. I've seen ospreys and bald eagles and black bears. I've seen coveys of quail and otters, and lots of different other little small animals that are crawling around the river. Creates a space for lots of reflection and thinking about how the fall migration is going to go for me and what my plans are. And I've enjoyed it, chasing the shade and working to find a couple fish here and there. We're just about ready to wrap up camp. We're breaking camp tomorrow and head back into town. So that's the the river report from that trip, and it's always good and important for me to kick off the fall migration on that river, steelhead fishing, and it was amazing to be totally disconnected from the screens and computers and all those things for that length of time. So that's the first trip, the kickoff trip of what will then be some time in the next 2 weeks camping, and then travel north into Canada to go do some bird hunting for the rest of September, and then come back down into Oregon and spend some time camping and bird hunting in Eastern Oregon, as the upland game hunting is still really good. The hatches have been good for chukar and pheasants and quail, so those birds are doing very well. And I'll spend the month of October in the first part of November in Eastern Oregon. And I'll be checking in with some field reports from each of my stops to talk about what I've seen, what am I experiencing, and how the season progresses. Appreciate you taking some time to listen to this episode of kind of a retrospective episode of me watching me. But thank you, and I hope that you take some time this fall as the summer heat dissipates and the cool temperatures come in, to get outside and continue to hike, get some time camping, maybe get out and spend some time on a river, but definitely disconnect on a daily basis from the technology and from culture. Spend some time in meditation and in prayer and enjoying the outdoors. Thanks for tuning in. This is Emmanuel Rose, Nature Bound.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Nature Bound. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Be sure to purchase your copy of the 7 Principles of the Magic Rock at emmanuelrose.com or on Amazon. We thank you again for joining us today, and remember to get nature bound.